Thanks for joining me today. Today we are going to be making some fresh vegetable salsa. Now this recipe comes out of the Ball Complete Book of Home Preserving, and it's a wonderful recipe that uses lots of fresh ingredients from the garden. And since we are in mid-July, it's tomato season, so let me show you what we're gonna do. So I'm bringing a kettle up to boil, and I've got some big, beautiful, luscious tomatoes. I am going to be dropping these in some boiling water so that I can get the skins removed. And then I've also got a boatload of yellow pear and cherry tomatoes. Now, this recipe calls for 7 cups of cored peeled tomatoes. I'm gonna do some of it in the larger tomatoes and some of it in the smaller ones because I just have so many of these small tomatoes. So let me get started cutting up some of the smaller tomatoes while we wait for this water to boil. And I think I'm gonna put in at least 2, maybe 3 cups of the cherry tomatoes, just so that we can make this, use up some of these cherry tomatoes, because like I said, I have so many of them, and I want to have some additional colors in my sauce, so I think that'll make it very nice. Now you chop your tomatoes up any size you want. I'm going to have kind of little small bite-sized pieces. This is going to work out really good. Now these are going to cook down, so don't worry if they're not super small. We really just want to be able to enjoy these. Now you don't have to worry about peeling these little cherry tomatoes. They're very delicious, and the peelings, they'll just add to it. They're not gonna change anything in a negative way at all. So I'm gonna do some of the yellow pear tomatoes, and then I'm also gonna do some of the red tomatoes. I've already washed these. I've already taken all the stems off. So I've done all the work ahead of time. As you can see, some of these are so ripe. I just need to get some of these used up. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and start putting my tomatoes in the water. And then I'm gonna set the timer for about 1 minute. And then I'm gonna take these out and put them in an ice bath, and then I'm gonna start pulling the skins off and chopping them up and see how many more I'm gonna need. All right, so all we're gonna do at this point is just cut out the core. And we wanna just pull the skins right off. It's a very easy process after you've boiled you put them in the boiling water. They just come right off. So don't worry, any little spot you have on the back, you just cut that off. Your tomato is going to be perfectly good. Make sure you get all of that off. And then all we're going to do is just slice these into pieces. And you notice I have a little bit of paper towel here when I cut these up and peel them. It's just because these make such a mess. They're so juicy, and they're wonderful, but you just really have to be careful about the mess. Look how beautiful those tomatoes are. Ugh. There's nothing like a homegrown tomato. Now these are my Abe Lincoln tomatoes, and I actually grow a lot of these. Now I have to fight the animals. I have a terrible time with possums trying to come in at night and eating my tomatoes. So I struggle with a lot of this. It's not easy, but it's very rewarding to have all this, even with all the animals and everything. You just have to keep working on it all the time. So that one tomato actually made close to 2 cups. So before we start putting our salsa together, I just wanted to show you how beautiful it is when you can mix different varieties of tomatoes together. I've got the yellow pear, the cherry, the black tomatoes. I think they're purple or black tomatoes. Then I've got my Abe Lincolns and a couple of Romas in there. Gorgeous. This is going to make a beautiful and delicious salsa. And it left me some ripe tomatoes, even though I picked a bunch more. So now what I want to do before I get going any further is I want to put all my ingredients together, and then we're going to sit down and start cooking our salsa. Let's see how many onions we can get out of this gigantic onion. I kind of pre-chop them, just cut them in half, smaller pieces, and then I'm going to be putting these in my Vidalia onion chopper. It's a great way to chop onions and peppers and carrots and all kinds of things. Save your hands. All right. Along with making my job a lot easier, I like using this primarily because it makes everything exactly the same size. So what we're going to do now is move everything down to the front of the chopper and start on the second half. So let's go ahead and measure this. We need to get 2 cups of onions. So we're just going to fill up this 2-cup measuring cup. And I'm so happy we're going to have more for later today. Well, not for later today, but I like to keep them chopped in the refrigerator in a glass jar, and then I have them for breakfast and all kinds of things. Okay, so we're going to add our onions. Now we're going to put this all on a pot in a minute, but for now we're just going to get everything kind of put in the same place, and I'll show you how we do that. So we've added our 2 cups of onions. We want to add a cup of coarsely chopped green pepper. Now, I don't have a green pepper, but I do have a red Azure pepper, and it's a sweet pepper, so it will work. This is not a hot pepper. All right, so we're just going to put our peppers in here, and we're going to add the pepper to our salsa mixture. All right, the next thing we're gonna do, we're gonna cut up some jalapenos. So I'm gonna go grab my gloves because these are hot jalapenos. I already made some other salsa this morning and they were very spicy. Now I'm gonna show you a little hack to doing my peppers really fast because these are actually very hard to do. They're just something that, as you're going through doing your peppers, you definitely don't want to be getting any of this in your eyes or anything like that. So I'm going to, they're making me choke just doing this. So this is what we're going to do. This is the hack. I don't want these peppers in here this big. So I've already done most of the work. I've got all the peppers chopped up and de-seeded. And now all I'm going to do is take my knife and I'm just going to kind of go along these peppers and chop them up a little bit better. But it's going to be fast. It's not going to be like chopping every individual pepper as you go. Into our salsa it goes. I'll tell you what the secret is. If it makes you cough, you've got the right ingredients when making salsa. All right, now we're going to get 3 cloves of garlic. Put our 3 crushed minced, I guess it's called minced garlic, in our pan here. And if you've never grown garlic in your garden before, it's kind of like growing onions. It's just foolproof. There's just not really much you have to do. There's not a lot of pests that come and eat your garlic. If anything, they kind of stay away from the other things that it's near. All right, now we're going to put in a can of tomato paste. All right, so we've got our little can of paste in here. Now we're gonna add our last couple things of seasoning and we'll be on our way. So we're gonna add some white vinegar, 3/4 cup. We're gonna put in 1/2 teaspoon of ground cumin. And the last thing we're gonna add is cilantro. Now, I've got some cilantro that I keep fresh in my refrigerator. I am gonna take some of this off. It's already been cleaned. All I'm gonna do is just give this a rough chop. And now all we're gonna do, I'm gonna actually clean this up and I'm gonna put it on the stove and I'll show you how that looks in just a minute. So we're gonna put all of our ingredients in our pot. I have a stainless steel pot here that I use whenever I'm canning anything. Now what we're gonna do is stir this for a few minutes and we are gonna bring this up to a boil. Then we're gonna turn it down to a simmer. And we're gonna cook this about 30 minutes. And I'm really happy because that's gonna give me plenty of time to get all these dishes done. Look how gorgeous this is. This is, not only is it gonna be delicious, it's also gonna be just beautiful to look at. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and get all my dishes done. I'm gonna get my jars ready for canning, and then I'm gonna show you the next step. So my salsa has started to boil, so I am actually gonna turn this down to a medium heat, and I am just gonna continue to stir this off and on for the next 30 minutes. I wanna wait until this thickens up a little bit, and as it does, then we will get ready to can it. But right now this salsa does need to cook down. That's how all the flavors will meld together, and this is going to be delicious. Well, it has been a long day of canning, but I got it all done. I was able to can 4 pints of my peach salsa, which I did in an earlier video, and I was actually able to can it looks like 6 pints of my vegetable salsa with 1/2 pint. So I got a lot of salsa and a little bit left over, and it is good. I sampled it. So give it a try. I'm gonna put the recipe down below if you're interested in trying to make this. It's very good. It always comes out good every year. And just because I have so many tomatoes and so many peaches, I'll probably be making another batch, most likely, in a few days after, you know, things settle down. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you're not a subscriber, please consider subscribing to my channel. Give me a like, a thumbs up, or ring that bell for future notifications, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.